this afternoon. We have a whole bunch of stuff going on here at What Culture Towers, getting prepared for Delete WCPW, for which there are still tickets. Head over to shop.whatculture.com to buy those. So unfortunately, this is just going to be a sound podcast, but it's still the same team. It's me, Joe, and I'm joined by Adam Bompier.
Hello.
And Jack the Jobber.
This is going to be a really sound podcast.
Oh.
Hi, Jack. Good to see you.
You too, man. You too.
Did you guys get enough sleep after the incredible heart-racing non-stop action?
I didn't really get enough sleep because I had to record what just happened about 3 times because my opinion on what just happened changed twice.
Right.
I started off really, really cross, and then I got kind of like cautiously optimistic, and then by the end of it, I sort of thought it was great. So now I'm all over the place. I have not had quite enough sleep, and I'm still on the fence about what happened.
I wish we're going to talk about the main event in a bit. I wish I'd had the energy to stay up and watch it live instead of watching it back over in the morning. I didn't manage to catch the main event because I was driving back from Glasgow after the ICW show at the Hydro. But I do know what's happened, and it blew me away. We will talk about that later on, but we're going to talk about the rest of the card and what that means for Raw.
Sure.
Tonight. We will start with the Intercontinental Championship and the fact that that is not going to be on Raw.
Good.
After the Miz successfully retained his title over Sami Zayn.
I really like that.
Yeah.
I thought it was good retro manager shtick. I think Maurice is the best at that currently going. I think Sami can lose. He's in that kind of early stage of his main roster career where losses really don't mean much to him because they call him the underdog from the underground, so he's fine to lose.
We said that a couple of weeks ago. He's got the character and the credibility that he can afford to take a loss.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially when Miz is so hot right now and people are fine with him kind of maintaining his reign hook or by crook. Yeah, no issues with it at all. Good match. Yeah, I really liked it.
There was also no need to have both secondary titles on Raw, especially with what happened with the Cruiserweight division, which we'll talk about
indeed
very briefly in a bit. Jack, what are your thoughts on the Intercontinental title match?
Pretty much just agree with Adam. Miz and Maurice are fantastic. Zayn can afford to take a loss.
Thanks, man.
Oh, that's all right, buddy. I will say it was a bit... you knew there was always going to be some kind of screw job callback in Canada at Survivor Series, and I'm just kind of relieved that it was in such a good way. Like, I was shocked. Like, I thought it was.
It was nice that it was
a deliberate heel tactic rather than an actual callback.
Am I correct that it wasn't made 100% clear on footage initially that it was Maurice that rang the bell?
It was pretty quickly.
There was enough time for a bit of confusion.
There
was enough time for a bit of confusion.
And then it cut to and it was obvious that it was her.
Again, driving back from Glasgow.
Yeah, cool.
It's
having to catch things on the fly.
It's the best version of the screw job that you could have done.
Yeah.
It's just.
And were you saying?
I like the way she hit the thing, and then as soon as the camera cut to her, she just pointed at the timekeeper saying it was him.
You were saying now when you're in kayfabe, Maurice might be one of the best heel managers ever. Now.
Well, she certainly did more for her client than Paul Heyman did for Brock.
We'll get on to now.
Where does this leave Sami Zayn heading into Raw? Does he go back to the feud with Mr. Ellsworth Killer?
Yeah, I'd like that. I think they work really, really well together. And I think them going up against each other at next Raw thing is Roadblock, right?
It's Roadblock.
End of the line.
Correct. I think that'd be a really good match.
I think that'd be good. I just hope that soon, like next year, Sami gets a feud that sort of helps propel him up the card, maybe more of a personal one where he allows more of his personality to shine through. Something for him to get his teeth into more rather than just a big versus small kind of thing.
I think he could do a really good thing in the Rumble, maybe even eliminating Strowman.
Well, at the very least.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Maybe be the Iron Man of the Rumble.
I could lad like that.
Oh, he'd be a great Iron Man. He really would.
Especially if the Rumble goes 4 hours, it's got more calls for...
The best Rumble Iron Men are the ones who can do wobbly legs. Show how tired they are. Michael, Ziggler.
Ziggler was a great Iron Man. Really underrated Iron Man.
Road Dogg just clung to the... Not Road Dogg.
Jerry the King Lawler, obviously.
Vince McMahon.
Reigns, no.
I think that would be great. I don't think he's hurt at all. At all.
Yeah.
Fine.
I know, like, maybe people just had their hearts set on the status quo changing, and I think when we talk about the cruiserweights, that's more of a legitimate complaint.
Yeah.
Because nothing really changed.
Yeah, let's move on to that. Let's move on to the cruiserweights, and you said it absolutely perfectly. The status quo has been kept the same in the form of a technicality.
Yeah, I hated that. That's the only bit of Survivor Series that I completely and utterly, no qualification, didn't like.
You say it really sucked the wind out of us watching it, didn't it? Like for a while we were just like, ugh.
Ending on a DQ, and it stays on Raw. So like what was the point of even putting it up for grabs?
Yeah.
Also the promo afterwards, and I know I'm going to get flack for this because I did get flack on Twitter afterwards. I know it's in Baron Corbin's character.
I was going to say that's the one saving grace, but it's not. It doesn't outweigh the negative.
No, and like Daniel Bryan went up to him and said, "You cost us the cruiserweight division." He said, "So?" And it's just like, don't do that, you bellend, because it's. You should care. Like, he should be like, I know what I've done, but that's the statement I'm making to you. I took what was precious to you because you love the cruiserweights, you love Kendrick, you love those guys, and I'm taking that from you because you took a spot on Survivor Series from me. Not, who cares about the pests?
That was
the little pests.
You should do videos about how you can do things better.
I think I might just start.
Yeah. That was really good.
With dramatic sound effects.
Yeah.
Do we feel bad for Corbin, considering not 2 weeks ago he was essentially going to be part of what should have been the main event?
He was supposed to be injured, wasn't he? Why wasn't he part of the main event? Why didn't he take his spot back from Shane if he wasn't injured?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah. And with the 205 Live going live, ironically enough, next week, ultimately, is it a good decision to keep the cruiserweights on Raw, and how long do they stay there?
They're working both. But TV both days. Live TV both days. That is
how long realistically does either 205 Live stay on a Tuesday, or how long do the cruiserweights stay on Raw? Because I think they're going to realise very quickly that you can't do one and the other.
I think the cruiserweights will be off Raw at some point pretty fast.
Yeah.
Hopefully they do it in a storyline way rather than just going. But I think it won't last very long on Raw.
I still think they should do Thursday nights. You look at Monday, you've got Raw. Tuesday, you've got SmackDown. Wednesday, you've got NXT.
My God, every day wrestling.
But it's for those that really want to watch it, however many millions of subscribers on the network, or to those that will happily go back and watch it. We live in a culture now where
what culture? Come on now. 1, 2, 1, 2. Is this on?
He's on fire with the jokes. But we live in a culture of society where people will happily go back and binge watch episodes of their favourite TV series, or in this case, especially with pre-recorded stuff, they will happily go back and watch that. So
I mean, a schedule is sort of what the network is for, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about King Ross. Another WTF moments to add to his list.
Because he doesn't do WTF moments for
NXT.
He should.
He's getting to it, yeah.
And I don't think the 205 Live warrants a quarterly special like NXT. You could maybe put a title match on a card.
Yeah,
like on a pay-per-view card.
It's hard to know.
And then you can put it on both. You could put it on both Raw and SmackDown to make things a little bit more interesting.
I wish they'd filmed, like, they should film it after NXT instead. Don't film it after SmackDown.
Well, have it at Full Sail.
Yeah, just the main roster audience don't care. Film it in front of people who care.
Yeah.
But there you go.
The problem with doing it at NXT is NXT's pre-recorded, whereas this is a live special.
Yeah, I guess. Just why make it live? I don't know.
Low point of the show.
It was.
And
really
if Kalisto being unsuccessful, taking the title, who next? It's swaying towards Rich Swann and Cedric Alexander, isn't it?
Well, Rich Swann picked up the win on the 6-man tag, which I missed. I didn't get here in time. I didn't realise we were starting that early.
I was getting out of the Hydro at that point.
Yeah. It's got to be Rich Swann, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think Swann's got 2 victories over Kendrick.
I think that's something we could expect to see on Raw tonight.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Not necessarily Kendrick versus Swann, but setting up
the title match. potentially
for Roadblock, yeah.
Either Roadblock or potentially the first episode of Live, the main event being for the championship.
That's not a bad
versus
shout.
Kendra.
That's not a bad shout at all.
I just quite like to see Kendrick hold it for a while. He's the coolest. He's the best.
He is.
He's the best. I love him.
I really like him, Brian Kendrick.
Yeah, he's certainly the most established, in my opinion.
The top rope flip into the captain's hook was the best.
Yeah,
part of that
he could also easily hold the title for a while and then set up a monumental title run for one of the younger guys.
No, I'm done.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that?
No, I'm done.
Oh, no, I'm done.
WCPW's
Okay.
no.
Let's move on to the women. And I hate to say I called it with Charlotte and Bayley being the survivors.
So did you.
But
Yeah.
it's almost like we know wrestling, Mr. Plumbier.
That's
Or
heavily
something
implying
about it.
that Jack
All right,
doesn't.
lads. Yeah, in hindsight, it was a bad shout. I thought it would be Charlotte and Sasha.
I honestly think
For some
that
reason.
was just as plausible considering what just happened at Hell in a Cell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then the more I thought about it, the more I thought that really was sort of, at least for now, the blow off for their
Yeah.
feud. But yeah, it makes more sense.
And
I will
Charlotte,
concede
Charlotte
it makes more
continues that mammoth pay-per-view run.
Loved it as well.
It looks as if we're getting Bayley versus Charlotte
Yeah.
Roadblock, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
sense. I'd like that.
Definitely.
The weak link is the reason that they win, so it sets up the title match.
I really, we're going to see that on Raw because they've already sort of set it up that Bayley's the next challenger. I enjoyed the match. I thought it was a bit messy. Nikki just not being in it was a bit weird, like because nothing came of that.
Oh, we might hear about it though.
Yeah.
Later on.
Am I correct in saying that Sasha was eliminated like towards like one of the first?
It was sort of midway through, and it was by a roll up. It was a roll up by Natalia.
But it was quite a shocking sort of elimination.
Yeah, she wasn't in
by
the end.
Natalia. Yeah, that was
She
weird.
certainly wasn't part of the climax of the match. No, she
And,
was gone
and
by
Kenny's
then.
got a nice little whodunit.
Who was he?
Of
to discuss-
course.
Well, who took? It wasn't made
Who
clear
took,
who took
out
Nikki
Nikki
Bella.
Bella?
Who lifted the briefcase at King of the Ring '99?
Actually,
Or what was it? I can't
Hasn't
remember what it was.
Natalia been involved in a whodunit which never got
Was
resolved?
that the
As in,
Paige?
who
Was
took
it
out
Paige?
Natalia?
Was it
Paige.
Paige? Was it ever confirmed that it was Paige?
I think it was heavily. I think it was implied it was Paige, but I don't know if it was ever nailed down.
She texted herself, I think, as well.
Oh,
That was bad times, yeah.
Awful.
Um,
But I really, really liked the match. I thought, bit messy in places, but like the finish, I thought Becky looked great, fighting
Yeah.
off the two of her former friends. Bayley getting the win looks great.
Yeah.
Charlotte wrecking Bayley after normal booking
Becky looked strong.
service has resumed.
Becky looked strong.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone
Maybe a bit
looked good.
too strong, as
that-
we said.
that's a good
because-
point you make, Bump, here, because there was a big sort of issue with storylines being pushed to one side just for the sake of fantasy warfare.
Bayley and Charlotte being on the same page.
And then you've immediately gone, well, fantasy warfare's over now.
Well-
let's go back to kicking the crap out
Fantasy
of each
warfare
other.
just got real.
Well, Ross
Joe
said.
Simpkins.
Boom.
Ross had a
You're
good
on
point.
fire.
Ross had a good point that the build-up's been quite tedious, and I agree with him because they'd ignored all the storylines and all that. But then last night they brought all the storylines back, and they all suddenly mattered again, and it made for a much better show. But doesn't really make sense. But it was better than just continuing to ignore the storylines.
Yeah, the bill was almost like the tedious stuff that you have to do, and then at the pay-per-view it's just pay off.
I guess, yeah.
But I think you're right. Like I think that there were better ways to have done the build than just everyone bickering. But I thought it was.
I will say one thing. Not sure about Becky making Nia tap out. Like, yeah, it's important that Becky's the champion and looks strong, but should Nia have tapped out this soon in a main roster career?
I think that's a legitimate concern. I was a bit worried about it after.
Just the
Takeover
fact that
London.
I was going to say the fact that Nia's already taken a submission loss anyway to Bayley in NXT.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe cushions
maybe.
that blow a little bit.
Maybe.
Um,
It's not like the worst, it's not like the biggest concern I've got coming out of the pay-per-view, but it's just a minor one.
Yeah, I think it's because considering how they protected Strowman, they
Yeah.
could have done something similar to Nia Jax, or maybe they were just worried that it would be too repetitious if Strowman and Nia
Repetitive.
both did count it out.
Repetitious, sorry. All right.
I choose to use that one. It's got more syllables in it.
Yeah. One last thing on this match. Stop counting the
It's got the
syllables.
same,
Stop
same,
it.
number, same number of syllables.
Alicia Fox, best Northern Lights
Yeah,
in the business. What a Northern Lights.
I stopped
God
for
damn.
a little bit as the women's match started, and I saw
That
Alicia
Northern Lights.
pull off the
Whoa.
Northern Lights. And the first thing that went through my mind is, damn, that's a really good Northern Lights. The second thing was, somewhere in there, Gateshead, Jack is popping heavy for that Northern Lights.
I'd love it to be able to hit her finisher though. That would have been nice.
Yeah.
Instead of accidentally just kind of pushing her bum down with her thigh.
That should be a finisher. That Northern Lights.
It really should be. Right, let's move on to the tag titles, or the tag title scene, I should say.
So Raw won 2 in a row.
Raw won 2 in a row, but they made their champions, their 451-day champions, look poor.
That's the thing, like,
because they went out first.
I mean, I mentioned it in the What Just Happened, and it was a theme of the night that it's like WWE, what they really like doing is they hate this kind of... They hate us basically saying, well, it's obviously going to be this, and obviously they're going to tie it up with the second one and then the third one, blah, blah, blah. They like to swerve the booking whenever they can.
Sometimes against better judgment.
Yeah, and I think this was the case where I think it was slightly against better judgment. I know it's predictable, but if you had one apiece and then it all came down to the Raw men's, I think that might have made the match feel a bit more, more tense. I think you would have had a better experience with it. And same with getting rid of the New Day like that. I thought, like, by the end of the match, you'd forgotten the New Day were even in it.
Yeah.
And like if they're gonna be the record-breaking champions, like, I get big moment, big pop. Oh my God! But like sometimes, like Jack says, I think it goes against the grain too much. It's hard to complain about that though because it's a moment, but I don't know.
It was a good match.
It was a good match.
And it's a tricky one because I agree with what you're saying, but at the same time, the New Day leaving so early let so many other teams shine more than they would have been able to.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
Cesaro and Sheamus are fantastic.
I was going to say, speaking of that, we'll get on to Cesaro and Sheamus in a minute, but who else across Raw and SmackDown has come out of this match looking good? I
mean, it's good that those plucky underdog faces, the Usos, got to fight against the odds at the end. No idea. I mean, I guess it kind of it softens the blow having it be a heel team that gets kind of tapped out at the end. But like, it was weird that the Usos were fighting from underneath in the close of the match.
Gable and Jordan looked good. They did that spot where you nearly deafened me, where he flipped him over the ropes.
Is that where he threw him over the
really,
ropes?
really good.
Yeah, that looked really good.
I thought you'd been shot.
Just like watching wrestling.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That was great. They looked good.
Yeah. They got a pin, didn't they? Did they?
Yes,
they
did get a...
I think they hit their thing. It's not a video. It's not a video podcast. What am I doing? I'm miming it. Sorry.
Let's talk about Cesaro and Sheamus, who were the only sole survivors of the night, and as such, and for securing Raw's victory in Fantasy Warfare, they have been rewarded with a tag team title match tonight on Raw in Toronto.
Lovely.
I think we
do WWE pull the trigger and tell the New Day, actually...
When's the record?
The record falls in 3 weeks. This is day 451.
I think it'll end screwy. I think Cesaro and Sheamus will be the next champions, but not tonight.
Do we see another disqualification finish coming for the New Day?
Maybe.
Why didn't they just award Sheamus and Cesaro the tag match at Roadblock?
Yeah.
Why didn't they do that?
Or at Rumble, when is it?
Roadblock, I was going to say Roadblock, I believe, comes after the record falls.
Oh, yeah. They should have done that.
It's like TLC's in 2 weeks, and then Roadblock's 2 weeks, and then Rumble's at the end of January, right? So, I don't want to predict it just because
be honest,
all my predictions have been wrong.
Are WWE going to pull the trigger and say to the New Day, you got close, but it's actually not happening, or is it a safe bet to say that New Day are breaking this record?
I think it might just be like... Do you think it's going to just be like a double pin or something, like something screwy?
Would a double pin, not going off previous history, vacate the titles?
Oh, no, well, it hasn't. Like, it didn't when Punk double pinned with Cena at Night Champions. So.
I suppose.
I don't think... They must be breaking the record. They must be.
Of course, yeah. It makes...
I mean, it'd be a hell of a thing.
They've just sold too much merch for Vince not to be like, well done, boys, have the record, there you go.
Plus, WWE hate Demolition so much because they're suing them.
They must be breaking the record.
I think it's a safe
Just like
bet
they
to say.
hate AJ Lee for daring to marry CM Punk.
They hate her so much that they fired him on their wedding day.
Oh.
Heartless pricks.
I don't know what to predict, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, especially after last night. I thought Cesaro and Sheamus looked really good.
They look really good.
Coming out of last night. The New Day now have a very big point to prove, having taken such an early defeat last night and not having any form of impact on the match other than the fact that they were eliminated.
They pinned. Who they pinned? They
Fashion
pinned,
Police.
Yes, Breezango.
Oh, yeah.
They looked phenomenal. Not in terms of the match. They just looked physically. They looked fantastic. They were hilarious.
Do we have to question Jack's sexuality? I'm joking.
They looked really cool.
I'm with Jack on this one. I fancy both of them.
Also, it's yours we have to question.
Don't bother questioning it. I'll state it.
They looked great.
I'm super hot for those boys. But what next? Let's move on. Don't pause. Let's just keep going.
We go from tag team to the men's.
53 minutes.
Yes.
53 minutes.
How do you fill a 4-hour pay-per-view? You put a 53-minute match on.
But it didn't feel like 53 minutes.
No, I loved it.
It was great.
Yeah.
Really. One of my favourite matches of the year.
It was crammed full of stuff.
It was.
Before we talk about anything Raw related, your thoughts on the survivors? Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Did Randy Orton need to be there?
Yeah.
I mean, he's part of the Wyatt family.
I just like this continuing tradition of Randy Orton being twice as good at Survivor Series.
Randy Orton
It's his
has now
thing.
been the survivor at, I believe, 4 Survivor
Great.
Series.
Love it.
He goes Super Saiyan at Survivor Series.
I like that. I like those little things. I love it. Just little
Yeah,
stats
it's
and little
nice.
things.
It's nice
Ooh,
that
delicious.
a good superstar has their own like pay-per-view that they
Yeah.
excel at. But more than anything, it is fantastic to see Bray Wyatt beat Roman Reigns
Oh, wasn't it nice?
and get a major win
Yeah.
for SmackDown.
And it made sense in the storyline as well, because
course
Orton
it did.
sacrificed himself, took the spear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose that's why Orton
It was brilliant.
was there. So yeah, it was phenomenal to see Bray get that victory.
The Sister Abigail looked brutal. as well.
And what about the Shield reunion?
Yes, I like that.
Yeah, it was
Admit it.
Whoa,
everyone.
hang on. Jack,
I liked it with one caveat, right?
go for it.
I liked it, thought it was good. I think it's been long enough just about for them to start teasing it a bit, start flirting with each
Yeah.
other again. But
They started texting again.
yeah, but you okay, Missy?
Boys, do we want a beer or anything?
Do you ever get lonely? Doc?
Yeah. So one thing, I really hope that on Tuesday Shane McMahon's livid with Ambrose. If Shane's all right, if he's all right, yeah.
For those that haven't seen the pay-per-view,
Oh.
I watched the Shane McMahon incident in slow motion today,
Oh.
and he took 265 pounds of Roman Reigns' entire head. Basically, what happened is Shane went for the coast to coast. The planned spot was Roman was going to counter it with the spear.
Gosh, it looked good.
And it looked good, but by God, I bet Shane feels it this
Yeah.
morning. Because he, like I say, Roman went head first in it with Jaw,
Oh.
which is why Shane McMahon is being treated for a concussion.
Also,
But I don't think he's going to sue his dad, so I think he might be okay.
we should point out as well, like Randy Orton gets a lot of stick from us, especially
he's a
Adam
lovely-
Pacitti.
he's a lovely man.
But he did a lovely thing and went over to immediately counsel Shane's kids.
He did.
did?
And then when he realised the camera was on him, he stopped. He said, "Oh,
Hit his kids.
no, okay, no, but yes, I'd like the Shield powerbomb, and I thought the tension and the slow build up to it when he came out, and you thought, "Are they going to do it?" And security started to take him away, and you were like, "Oh, they're not." And then they did again. It was all great. Roman Reigns slagging off the Mexicans.
Yeah.
I
I hate
hate
these guys.
I always want to do it on the Spanish announce table, but we're going to make SmackDown pay for it. We're going to build a beautiful.
Hey.
Anyway, sorry. But if Shane,
No, Jack, normalize it. Go for it.
I am Jimmy Fallon. God, I hate Jimmy Fallon. If Shane is livid at Ambrose, that's fine, because Shane put his body on the line so many times in that match and was the hardest man in the match.
At
He was
one
such a
point,
badass.
we
And
were
laughing so
pissing
much.
ourselves because Shane was killing everyone.
He was like-
he was taking out both members of the Shield.
He was like the ultimate warrior. He was just, but he busted his ass to try and get SmackDown to win the match, and then Ambrose comes out and eliminates AJ Styles in kayfabe, their best their hotshot, their ace, their best guy.
Yeah.
Shane should be livid. He should be like, what were you doing? That's so selfish.
Yeah, I agree.
And if he does, that'll be fantastic. I don't know if he will.
Hopefully so.
Do you see Shane threatening? I know we're talking about SmackDown. We're going to get back to Raw in a minute. But do you see Shane threatening Ambrose's title match at TLC?
Oh,
No, when was that?
what was that?
No, I'm saying, do you see
Oh,
it?
that'd
see
be
it?
good. I'd like that.
Well, like, we're talking about Shane possibly being angry at
Yeah.
Ambrose for potentially screwing Team SmackDown and costing Styles his fall. He could threaten Ambrose's title match at TLC.
I'd like
Yeah,
that.
could do.
Give it to someone like Bray Wyatt, because he survived.
Yeah, it's heel
Hint,
it's heel versus-
nudge, nudge.
It's heel versus heel, but I like it.
You could put Bray in the match.
Yeah, if it was a triple threat.
Yeah.
And Randy. Have a four-way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Could do. What do we think is going to happen with Seth Rollins? Because we established that Seth Rollins was given certain sort of like indications that he was going to receive something from the McMahons or from Stephanie and Mick Foley for showing up when there's a draw. That seems to hint towards a title match. So what do we think happens with Seth Rollins, who, from what I understand, put in a tremendous shift
I did.
last night?
did.
So many people did. So many of them in that match put in a great shift.
Yeah.
Loved his frog splash into an RKO. Just picture perfect.
I loved his pin. He got a pinfall over AJ Styles, which is massive.
Yeah.
It was after the power bomb. He dragged
Oh,
him back
of
in the
course,
ring,
yeah.
and he'd get the cheekiest pinfall. He was like a dog when they get caught doing something. He was like, "Is this okay? Yeah, we're cool. Let's go."
Am I okay to carry on?
Yeah.
Do we think Jericho?
Yeah, that's
After if we're to assume that booking service resumes, the last thing that happened at Hell in the Cell was Chris Jericho beating him up in a cell.
Yeah, I think Chris Jericho works, but Chris Jericho may also be embroiled in a feud with Kevin Owens after what happened last night.
Kevin Owens
The list,
hurt the list.
the list of Jericho played part in 2
It
eliminations.
was just
One of
how-
them being the Universal Champion Kevin Owens.
It was just how Kev just didn't care what he was using, and then Jericho was like, "That's my list," and then he was like, "Whatever, what are you on about? Like, come on, this is serious." And he was like, "No, it's the list." I thought it fit Jericho. Was it you or Pacitti who didn't like it?
I think both of us.
I thought it fit his character, Jericho, because one of you said something like, and I did understand. You were like, "Not in a match like this. Don't be caring about the list in a match like this." But I thought
That was me,
If
yeah.
there's anyone petty enough to care about the list during that match, it's Jericho.
I
Jericho.
guess. I don't know. It deciding things in pay-per-view matches. It's a comedy prop. It's like would you accepted if Jericho had been distracted by Mitch?
It's just about
losing,
me, that comparison.
No, but I guess so. I didn't mind it too much.
It's funny, I guess, and ultimately, it gives Jericho and Kevin Owens stuff, and that's the important thing.
Does this kill the rumoured roadblock match between Owens and Reigns? Do we think?
Not
Because remember
necessarily.
Pittsburgh's arena. Jack, do you remember the name of the
Oh
arena?
no, I mentioned it. No.
The multiple letters followed by the word
PPL
arena,
or something like that,
something
yeah.
like that. But the arena in Pittsburgh dropped that it was going to be Owens versus Reigns for the title. Everything that happened last night could potentially kill that and set up Owens versus Jericho. We'll have to see what happens.
I think maybe you're looking at you might be looking at number one contenders, something.
Yeah.
Maybe have them have Reigns earn it because he did eat a pinfall last night. So.
a fatal four-way between the other guys on the team with the ones on commentary.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
One more. Before we move on from this match. Sorry, I don't know if you've seen this because you haven't seen the whole match. Have you seen the whole match now?
I haven't seen the whole match, but I've got a good
Yeah.
sort of
Just
indication.
mention one thing. My favourite elimination of the whole show was Strowman, because he was down on the outside.
he's so good.
He was down on the outside. He'd taken a big move. I think it was an RKO onto the announce table or something.
Yeah, I remember hearing about
He
that on the drive.
He got back. He got back to
And
the
it was
break apron.
Shane McMahon, his flying.
Oh, it was the
elbow.
the
elbow.
elbow.
Yeah, of course it was. And then he got back to the to the apron, and then he was about to get in the ring, and then the ref counted him out, and everyone was like, "Why didn't you just get back in the ring?" And with perfect comic timing, the camera panned down. You saw Ellsworth's little hands out the bottom of the ring apron. He'd held him, like he'd stopped him, and JBL was loving it. He was like, "Attaboy, Ellsworth, always liked you." It was great. And then Strowman murdered James Ellsworth.
I was going to say, how do we feel about the whole James Ellsworth getting absolutely crushed.
Oh, that was funny.
So good.
That was really funny.
So good.
I'm kind of thankful to Mr. Strowman for making that happen.
I wish he'd gone through more
I'm
tables.
sorry. I know this might offend you and some people out there listening, but I'm really not a big James Ellsworth fan.
They've used him in
And the
creative
fact
ways.
that he's now potentially being offered a full-time deal
That elimination was genius.
kind of
And, you know, if
worries
they-
me for
if
where
they,
he can go from here.
If they keep using him well, fine. But I don't know how they keep using him well the
Yeah.
longer
Yeah,
they use
yeah,
him.
you're right.
But I wish he'd flown just a bit further and gone through all of the tables. But even though like it looked great, it looked really really.
It was
good.
really brave of
Yeah.
him. Such a heel and babyface move because he wasn't in the match. He shouldn't have done it. But how brave's that? What a
Yeah.
brave little boy.
To start on
Yeah,
Strowman.
it's great.
And
I mean,
that,
that
is going to do it for this week's podcast. Oh wait, of course it's not, because we have one major thing to discuss. We could probably fill 30 minutes off of what happened in the space of 90 seconds.
Jack's getting married, and I just wanted to no.
Let us talk about the main event.
Should I clarify? I'm not getting married. Some people might actually take that seriously.
Jack is still single.
Hey.
And ready to mingle.
Moving on to the main event.
Yes, let us talk about the main event between Goldberg and Brock Lesnar.
Holy! I don't want to swear because we can't really you don't have time to edit this, but Jesus God, Jesus Christ!
What an incredible thing! It's one of those things I was saying just before we went on air. Due to sheer exhaustion, I did not stay up and watch this live. But I regret that. I really do. I wish I had the energy for the extra half an hour that it would have taken to watch it live, because it's absolutely incredible.
Who lasted longer, Punk or Lesnar? Punk in UFC or Lesnar in WWE?
Oh, it was Lesnar.
Punk lasted longer.
longer.
Yeah.
In fact, Punk went 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Lesnar went 1:26.
I think it's utterly mad, and like I said at the top of this podcast, hated it when it started because I hated it for the same reason that a lot of people online hated it. I hated it because the fans have conditioned themselves to the next guy who pins Lesnar is going to be the top guy, right? Because the Undertaker's undefeated streak went to Lesnar. Lesnar then took his own form of undefeated streak.
Yeah.
And now, basically, whoever was going to defeat Lesnar gets this mythical rub.
How considerate of Brock Lesnar to put a young guy over.
Yeah.
Right.
It could have been. Well, I'd have been fine with it being like Styles. Or like, because he's not young, but
Or
But he still
Shinsuke
had-
Nax.
but he still have
or
that
Ro-
potential.
or like Rollins, or not. I wouldn't have enjoyed it if it was Reigns.
The thing
but
is, you're not going to build the company around Goldberg.
no.
But that being said,
I don't know.
whoever
Vinny's
beats
crazy.
Goldberg now, gets
It's not the same.
another
It's not the
rub.
same.
No, I
It's
think
not
it's
the
it's
same.
it's the man.
It's diminished
It's
a
the
bit.
man
It
that
has-
beats the man that beat
Yeah.
the man. It's long-winded,
One
but
was fine. Like beating Lesnar, who beat the streak, that's big. But beating the guy who beat, I mean,
You
there's
could
still-
be the one to beat the one who beat the one in
Yeah,
21-1.
But he's like, I think it's too. And whoever beats Goldberg's obviously going to get a massive rub still, but not as big as beating Lesnar would have been.
do we feel that there is a Goldberg Lesnar 3?
Probably Royal Rumble. Actually, no. Well, like
Yes,
isn't-
because let's quickly talk about that. If anyone has seen,
But what's the point? Lesnar can't beat him now. He's
if
much worse than him.
anyone has seen,
rubbish.
it is.
if anything, he's gotten
It
worse
has,
with
it
age.
has been reported that Goldberg has signed a deal to appear at the Royal Rumble in San Antonio.
Do you think he'll be in the Rumble?
I have read that apparently the deal stipulates that Goldberg will be in the Rumble match.
Beep, bum, bum. Sorry.
But
Bum, bum.
I don't know how much sense that makes,
know.
putting Goldberg in the Rumble
I mean,
match.
do you want to see Goldberg?
I don't want
Lesnar
to.
3?
I want to see Goldberg in the Rumble. I love that actually.
I want to see Lesnar get that win, because then that means it can go back to whoever beats Lesnar becomes the next top guy, because Lesnar's got the win
I
back.
kind of don't like. I know there's probably no way they're not going to do it, but I kind of don't want Lesnar to go after Goldberg. I kind of want him to go insane.
You should get the because you were going to say I hate it at first, but do you want to explain why you now, or at least what the positive side of it?
Basically, I'm being cautiously optimistic,
Right.
And I know that WWE haven't earned that kind of optimism because so often they prize a moment over long-term booking, and I do think if you change who Lesnar is, because he's going to have to change up his game. He can't just do suplexes now. He can't just do suplex F5. He's going to have to become meaner, nastier. He's going to go insane.
To beat a 49-year-old.
And I think that is...
That's a good story.
That's worthy, and that's something bigger than just another Lesnar victory. And it could very well be the case that we just diminish... All it's done is diminish Lesnar's drawing power, and nothing is the same.
You said you were a fan of stats, Jack.
Hello.
I have 2 stats for you.
Go on.
Last night was Brock Lesnar's first appearance at Survivor Series in 13 years.
Right.
And Brock Lesnar's Survivor Series record is now 0-3.
Oh!
Well, Team Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar has never won at Survivor Series.
Big Show beat him.
Big Show beat him.
Team Angle beat him.
He got tapped out by a certain man that we won't mention because of things that happened. And now he lost to Goldberg in possibly the worst defeat. Thanks.
For me,
I do relish in those.
It was a total sort of head versus heart situation, because as I think you said on What Just Happened, but I totally disagree with the booking, unless they do what you hope they do. But I totally disagree with it. But you're right. I've never felt, since The Undertaker lost to Lesnar, I've never been like, so what?
Even then, I felt more here than Lesnar beating Taker.
Ooh.
No, let me clarify that. Not because I think the stakes were much, much higher when Lesnar beat Taker.
Yeah.
But I didn't see the pinfall for Lesnar Taker because I was so bored with the match. Whereas, as soon as this match started, we were on the edge of our seats, glued to it.
I was on the edge of my beanbag.
Yeah, but my heart didn't stop beating for half an hour.
Ultimately,
crazy.
The effect of the finish was to get people talking. It was the number one trend around the world, and we are.
And I know that
putting a good portion.
I'm never a fan of that philosophy, usually. But I didn't like the SummerSlam finish, and that was to get people talking. Wow, did you see that MMA style? Was it real? Was it not? Is Orton really hurt and all that?
That's the thing, is you can do terrible booking will also get people talking.
Yeah. Finger poke.
Yeah, exactly.
But this one's different.
Yeah,
it is.
Ultimately, I won't. The more I think about it, the more I think I like it, because ultimately, it's been, we've had 2 years of Brock being this undefeatable beast. The fans were getting,
it's almost like a title reign, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird that it's Goldberg. It's really weird that it's Goldberg. But now let's just see what happens with Goldberg.
In kayfabe, is Goldberg now the best wrestler ever?
Yes.
Right.
Goldberg is the best wrestler that's ever lived.
In kayfabe,
Hogan, Lesnar.
In kayfabe, Goldberg is the man that beat Mark Hunt at UFC 200 and earned $2.5 million for it. So that means Goldberg is a future UFC heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
Why didn't Mark Hunt just try shoving Lesnar? That really works.
I might do an all-time kayfabe ranking. Is Goldberg the best wrestler ever?
Goldberg is the pound-for-pound kayfabe #1 fighter in the world, followed by Brock Lesnar after that defeat.
He's a god. He's a god amongst men.
He's like at the end of Tekken when Heihachi gets all grotesque and massive. Is it Heihachi or is it his dad? It's his dad. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
So that is the discussion about Survivor Series. Goldberg is advertised to show up on Raw tonight.
I can't wait for Raw tonight.
What the website in particular have sold it on is that this could be Goldberg's farewell.
Nah,
it's not.
He said your last. He promised.
I want to see Brock Lesnar F5 Goldberg's topless son. That's what I want to see. I want to see Lesnar go full crazy. And
PG is dead.
Would you remember when Punk lost to The Rock and everyone was up in arms? I was. And then Punk came out and cut one of the best promos of his career, in my opinion. I did not lose. I was screwed. He just kicking the rope and he was so insane. I think a complete different change of character for Lesnar having...
I'm just worried he'll do what Batista did when he lost in his return, or when he wasn't, his reactions weren't as good. And it worked for Batista, because he's kind of a mopey old guy by this point. He was like, I don't care anymore. See you later. Turned on Evolution, went away. Everyone was like, oh, hey, Batista, what a lad, what a band of king. Lesnar's not going to... Lesnar might just do a Barry Corbin and just be like, well, I'm done. See you later, thanks for the paycheck. Because that would work in his character, and it's what he's like. I'm worried they'll do that.
That's what you don't want.
I know, it's awful.
I worked out that, just while they're talking about the money, that Lesnar makes about 30 appearances for the WWE every year. And if you watch the video that the lovely Adam Blampier presents on 10 shocking salaries in the WWE, Brock Lesnar earns $6 million a year. He gets paid for roughly 30 appearances a year. That means that Brock Lesnar got paid $200,000 for 1 minute and 26 seconds of action.
I took some bumps though.
That's true.
All three of them.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the end of Goldberg. I have an odd feeling that he's going in the Hall of Fame this year.
That's good.
I think there's one more match with Lesnar. And then I think Goldberg says farewell to his in-ring career at WrestleMania. But I would love to see Lesnar not ditch Heyman as a manager, but ditch Heyman as his vocal piece and speak his own mind as to what went on. Here's a thought for you guys. I'm not sure how much you guys believe in odds and bookmakers with wrestling, but up to the start of the event at midnight last night, Lesnar was 1-4 on to beat Goldberg.
Mm-hmm.
By the time the match was about to start, Lesnar was 6-1 against.
He must have got out.
Or like the booking decision changed.
Do we think the booking changed?
I think.
Well, he didn't. Like,
hours before the show.
when you talked about him signing for the Royal Rumble, didn't that happen on the day?
Like the night of Survivor Series.
I bet.
It sounds like it has.
I bet, like in the locker room. I bet just like Rollins and Stars and them were like, what? I bet they had no idea.
Yeah.
I bet they didn't know at all.
I've heard a bunch of different things with this. Whether or not it's because Goldberg tweaked his shoulder wrestling against the security guards.
Wrestling against the
He and the fact that basically they just thought, right, we're not going to get the match we want. Instead, let's get the match we want at the Royal Rumble and do this and set the world on fire. And so it probably will be Lesnar Goldberg.
Also, they did the whole Goldberg has brought his wife and son to see him wrestle for the very first time. Have they seen him wrestle for the first time with the same moves that he has delivered over the last 4 weeks?
Guess not.
It does make for interesting decisions, and it's got me, despite having to be awake at 7 o'clock in the morning tomorrow morning, it's got me really keen to watch Raw Live tonight.
And you know what? If it's Goldberg, Lesnar 3 at the Rumble, and Lesnar has to change up his game plan, become more dangerous, fine, I'm for that.
Yeah.
I'm not really, but it's exciting, isn't it? Wrestling.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Thanks, Vince.
So I put out a tweet earlier on today saying that we weren't going to do Q&As because there was quite simply too much to talk about. So I do apologise. I will give you guys your voice next week. But I want you guys to have a little think about this one last thing I'm going to leave you with. You can tweet me, or you can tweet the guys or whatever. I read a post. So Survivor Series didn't do 4 hours. It only did 3.5. The show ended at 3:30. At 3:32 in the morning, British time, a certain brand new NXT champion Samoa Joe puts out this tweet. Disappointed. I now have a new target.
Ooh.
Literally seconds after Survivor Series goes off the air.
Samoa Joe versus Goldberg. Is that what you're thinking?
I'm not sure if I think Samoa Joe versus Goldberg or Samoa Joe showing up on Raw tonight. What do you guys think?
He might just be being a tease.
A Finn Balor-esque
yeah,
tease.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just... whoever Joe fights, whether it's Lesnar or Goldberg, they're fine. Both those matches are fine.
Yeah.
Imagine Joe coming and saying, I definitely didn't see the best out of you against Goldberg, Brock. You better bring the best against me or I will end everything that you know.
Yeah.
And establish himself as the new monster.
I mean, we definitely
WWE.
sure that when, because we could see anyone tonight. We could see
We
Nakamura.
could.
If they want to
see
start
Shinsuke Nax.
Start him before Mania. I mean, I don't think it's likely, but we could.
I really want to see Nakamura versus Lesnar at WrestleMania now. If Goldberg Lesnar 3 happens at the Rumble and Lesnar changes up his game and gets the win back over Goldberg, which therefore then establishes him again as the man to beat, to go over, what better place to do to put Nakamura over?
Lesnar's not going to beat Goldberg. Were you watching? It's rubbish.
If he changed his game up though. If he
changes,
changes,
he's the best ever.
if Lesnar changes his game up, beats Goldberg at the Rumble, and then Nakamura challenges Lesnar. That's essentially Lesnar doing what he did and taking the loss to Goldberg.
Yeah, I mean,
putting Nakamura over.
He can say to himself, "I got cocky. I became a complacent beast."
I apologise to my family. No excuses.
I own it.
But yeah, that's something I want you guys to think about. Let me know. You can let me know in the comments section below, actually, because this will be going on YouTube. But let me know either in the comments or you can tweet me and talk about it. You can catch me on Twitter at @BJoeSimpkins.
At Adam the Blompier.
At Jack_the John.
Again, major apologies that you can't see our three beautiful faces.
But if you want to see mine and Jack's beautiful faces, of course, we will be live streaming Raw tonight when Raw starts at whatculture.com/extra.
And if you want to see my beautiful face tonight, I will get a